Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin with chapter 11, verse 26, the very first pasuk of this week's parsha. Moshe Rabbeinu says to the Jewish people, "Re'ei anochi nosein lifnechem hayom." See that I place before you on this day bracha uklala, blessing and a curse. And the blessing is if you listen to the commandments of God, and the curse is if you neglect to listen to the commandments of God. Two things that just jump out in this pasuk. Two things that jump out in this pasuk. One is the shift in grammar. Re'eh is in the singular, lifnechem is in the plural. So you, individuals, should see that I place before you as a group a blessing and a curse. Why the shift from singular to plural? And the second question is, why does it even say re'eh? Re'eh means see. It would make much. First of all, why do you need any verb at the beginning of this pasuk? Let it just say, I place before you today a blessing and a curse. But to the extent that there's going to be a verb, he's telling them something. So why is it see that I'm placing before you a blessing and a curse? And why is it not hear that I place before you a blessing and a curse? Okay, so let's start with the Sforno. Sforno on pasuk chavav, re'eh, habita ure'eh. Look closely and see, which would seem to be a language of paying close attention to something. There's actually no middle option. Moshe says, I'm placing before you two options. One is the blessing option. One is the curse option. They're really to two polar ends. It's very easy to say, well, you know something, I'm going to take the middle road. I'll just sort of do mitzvos, sort of not do mitzvos, and I just won't get the deluxe package, okay? Me and God will be on friendly terms, maybe not a first name basis, and it's not an option. Either you grab Torah and mitzvos with both hands, or you're not. To just reflect on that and understand that, and it's somewhat surprising because many times in life there's really a third option. Go to two extremes or just kind of keep on moseying down the middle. Re'eh, see that that's not an option here. Ki habracha yatzlacha yosem min hamaspik outside of yoser tov v'aklala hi me'era machzer shlo yusak hamaspik shneim lefneichem lahasik kfi ma shetivcharu. It's your choice. Either get remarkable blessing or get significant curse, but there's not much in between. If you as a nation conduct yourself one way or the other. Interesting sforno. Let's go now to the Kli Yakar on pasuk chavav. Re'eh anochi nosein lifnechem hayom bracha uklala. Re'eh k'medaber liyachid. The language of seeing in the singular, it's as if he's speaking to an individual. Lifnechem k'medaber l'rabim. Before you as a group, it's like he's speaking to a group. V'sha amar razal la'olam yidme la'adam. Gemara in Kedushin says that in a person's mind it should be as if the whole world was half and half in terms of merits and sins. If a person does one mitzvah, that for a person does one mitzvah, they've pushed themselves and the entire world to the side of merit. Lekach amar al kol yachid re'eh. So certainly appropriate to think of as we go into Elul, that we all have the ability to tip the scales one way or the other. So therefore, Moshe Rabbeinu addresses himself to each and every individual. See, let everyone understand that his or her individual actions have an impact before everyone, make a difference for the world. So you as an individual see that I place before you as a group the following. And this is an appropriate topic to be discussed in the context of the blessings and curses on Har Gerizim and Har Eivel, this parsha. Because at Har Gerizim and Har Eivel, the concept was introduced to the Jewish people that they have mutual responsibility for each other. And because of this concept of mutual responsibility, many people could get caught up in the sin of the individual. So this message is uniquely relevant to the place in which this joint responsibility was introduced. So therefore, it's emphasized here in the pasuk. It's emphasized here in the pasuk that each of you, as individuals, have the opportunity to impact the whole group. Okay, moving on to chapter 12, verse 7. We're talking about the dynamic of bringing offerings in, whether it be the Mishkan in Shiloh, whether it be the Beis HaMikdash down the road. Verse 7, it says, V'achaltem sham l'fnei Hashem Elokeichem, and you should eat there from the offerings before Hashem your God. Usmachtem b'chol mishlach yadchem, and you should rejoice in all that you extend your hands to. Atem uvatechem, you and your homes. Asher beirachecha Hashem Elokecha, which Hashem your God blessed you. Okay, you'll eat offerings there, and you'll participate in all these different offerings that you bring before God. But there's one word, thanks to God's blessings, but there's one word that just jumps out in the pasuk. Why does it say usmachtem? You should rejoice. What difference does it make if you rejoice or not? You have a korban, you bring it there, you eat it. Next, why does it say you rejoice? Just thought there was a nice sforno over here. Sforno on pasuk Zayin. L'fnei Hashem Elokeichem usmachtem. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha. The Sforno says that the directive being given here, just sort of being tucked in, it's a reminder that the attitude we have towards the performance of our mitzvah should be serving God with joy. Karoi l'chol oved me'ava, as is appropriate for any person who serves Hashem out of a state of love. So he's saying you'll bring korbanos, and you'll rejoice in bringing korbanos, because that's the goal. That's what it's supposed to be. B'chol mishlach yadchem, in everything to which you extend your hands. Ki oz tatzlichu es darchechem, because if you do the mitzvos, and you do the mitzvos in a sense of joy, then you'll succeed. V'oz taskilu, and you'll continue to have success. Just, I thought, a nice idea. Okay, moving on to verse 25. We are talking now about the prohibition of consuming blood. Of course, this is the idea that when we eat meat from animals, we're supposed to salt the animals so that the blood gets kind of pulled out, so we don't eat the blood. Verse 25 says, Lo tochlenu, don't eat the blood. L'man yitav l'cha l'vonecha acharecha, so that it will be good for you and for your children after you. Ki sa'aseh hayashar b'nei Hashem, that you will do that which is straight in the eyes of God. Okay, two things that just jump out in this pasuk. First of all, why does it say it'll be good for you and your children after you? I mean, you could say that for any mitzvah in the Torah, right? Do this, it'll be good for you, it'll be good for your children. Why are we in the context of blood? It'll be good for your kids if you don't eat blood, or they don't eat blood. And then also, why is this? You'll do that which is straight in the eyes of God. Again, great phrase, very meaningful. Can be said for any mitzvah in the Torah. Okay, let's do the Sforno. Sforno on pasuk Chafei. Lo tochlenu ki sa'aseh hayashar b'nei Hashem. V'kasher timna mala'achlo, when you refrain from consuming blood, lo yiyazeh k'mo espo. There's a famous discussion in Talmudic sources about this. So a person's not going to eat blood. I don't know about any of you. I don't have a burning desire to consume blood. There are certain foods, maybe you see them commercials, not kosher. Maybe you find them enticing, maybe not. But blood is probably for most of us, we're not terribly moved to. The vampire shear isn't until 9:45. So you people probably aren't so interested in blood. So says the Sforno, you should understand that when you refrain from eating blood, your attitude should not be, who would want that? Aval kadei shetasa yashar b'nei Hashem. Even for something that you naturally probably aren't going to be interested in, still your attitude should be, as the pasuk ends off, that you want to do that which is straight in the eyes of God. The real reason I'm not having the blood is because God said so. That's more important than anything else. Ka'am Ramzal, as the rabbis teach, Al Yomar Adam Katsanafshi B'Bsar Chazir, a famous Talmudic quote. A person shouldn't say, I'm disgusted by pig, I wouldn't want to have it. Aval Yomar, rather a person should say, Efshi, I could see myself eating pork, but my Father in heaven told me not to. Sforno says that's the pshat, doing that which is straight in the eyes of God. That's what he says. Kli Yakar. Kli Yakar on pasuk chafei lo toplenu leman yitav l'chol v'nech acharecha. Don't eat it so that it will be good for you and your children after you. Parat kan livonech acharecha. It specifically mentions your children after you. Fish amram mefarshim shadam molid achzarius begufa ochel. There's an idea. You have different ideas in the commentators that consuming different things could cause a person to act in different ways. So there's an idea that if a person does consume blood, they'll become a person of greater cruelty. V'teva ha'av nimshach gam lebanim. And once a parent takes a certain nature, it has a way of extending to the next generation. And that the next generations could be in a similar way. Therefore, it says in the pasuk, this might strike you as being a very technical mitzvah. Don't eat blood, like we said in the Sforno. Maybe you're not terribly interested in eating blood anyway. A person should appreciate that there's a great benefit in refraining from eating blood, because not only are they doing the mitzvahs of God, but they won't become this person of cruelty. And if they won't become this person of cruelty, their children also won't. He says, on the other side of it, there's a mitzvah that speaks parsha of Yerni Dachas. Yerni Dachas is if there's a city that has a city in Israel, they're guilty of avodah zarah, there's a mitzvah to go and kill the residents of the city, even children, even men and women. So you might say to yourself, wow, who would want to do that mitzvah? Think of how that affects your character in a negative way. Okay, therefore says the Kli Yakar, and there where it gives the mitzvah of Yerni Dachas, it says that God will give you mercy. That God will instill it into your nature that you'll be a person of compassion. And he says, and that's what it says in the pasuk, he'll give you mercy and make you abundant. That the point over there is not only will God infuse you with mercy, even though you were commanded to do something on the cruel side, but he'll make sure to infuse your children with it also. But it is an interesting, besides the specific context of this mitzvah with blood, it's just an interesting thing to think about, this concept that as we do the mitzvahs, it impacts not only us, but it changes us as people. And once it changes us as people, it indirectly impacts future generations. We discussed the Sforno this morning, why the pasuk begins with Re'eh, see that I'm giving you a blessing and a curse. We discussed the Kli Yakar, why the pasuk shifts from singular to plural. We discussed the Sforno regarding rejoicing in the korbanos that you bring, the offerings that you bring. We discussed the Sforno regarding doing that which is straight in the eyes of God. And we discussed the Kli Yakar regarding doing good for that God will do good for you and for your children after you.